This podcast was originally live-streamed on the NonSequitur Show on YouTube. New episodes air weekdays, Monday through Friday, at 8 p.m. Eastern at youtube.com/NonSequitur Show. Make sure you never miss a live stream by visiting www.nonsecshow.com/schedule. For the latest news, polls and updates throughout the day, follow us on Twitter @NonSecShow or Facebook.com/NonSecShow. That's NONSEQ Show. If you'd like to get exclusive content, bi-weekly private hangouts with Kyle and Steve, backstage access to chat with guests after shows hosted on your channel and much more, become a Patreon saint of NonSequitur. It ensures we continue to improve our show and brings you into the process at the same time. Visit patreon.com/NonSequitur today while the limited spots are still available.
The following podcast is intended for those who believe bold ideas are righteous, unique perspectives are gospel, and strong opinions are sacred. This is Non Sequitur. Never follow. And now, here are your hosts, Kyle Curtis and Steve McRae.
Hello, all you lovely people, and for tonight, all of you lovely dragons that might be watching. We were just clarifying that Steve actually thought that one of our guests tonight was an actual dragon, and was shocked to find out that he wasn't. So, are you over that yet, Steve?
I'm still reeling over it. I was so disappointed. I expected like wings and fire out of the mouth and all that shit, but nope, just a normal human being.
Sorry,
well, somebody.
Yeah. Flesh, blood, and fat.
I'll get over it.
We'll say hello to our guest real quick. Then I'll take you through a couple of announcements that we have coming up for the month of November. Obviously joining us, the Named Dragon. Hello, sir. And Jeff Censored. What's going on? Welcome to the show. Jeff, are you with us?
Sorry, guys. I just had my mic down there for a second. Thanks for having me on the show.
Sure. When Steve told you to turn it down, he didn't mean all the way down.
Yeah, I didn't mean mute. There's a difference. By the way, somebody just noted to me that true dragons don't always assume their true form. So I'm not thoroughly convinced that a named dragon is not a dragon. He could be just in poly form human. Steve. So it's true.
Steve.
Do dragons drink
Why not?
pumpkin beer?
What did I tell you about acting out in front of a company?
I have to look at the rules. Oh, God. There are dragon rules. I've read them.
I apologize. So for the month of November, we're calling it a November to Remember, because we have a lineup like you wouldn't believe, and I'm excited about it. So we'll give you a few hints. I have sought after this for probably about 4 months now, but we have Maddie's Paradigm who is coming. And Maddie's Paradigm, it believes that hell exists in the center of the earth, and it is expanding. And due to the expansion of hell, that is causing what we call global warming or climate change. I find this fascinating. And he has, he's not one of those people that just say something and doesn't attempt to back it up. He has like papers upon papers upon papers that he's done himself to try to explain this. And it's just, it's amazing. So I can't wait to have him on. We've got a guy that believes that salt can prove the existence of God or that we were created. We have Sargon of Akkad versus Adam Kokesh. That's going to be great. Steve will have to, I don't know who will get a word in edgewise in that talk.
He liked me.
He didn't. I don't think he liked either of us.
I don't think he did either.
But it's going to be fun nonetheless.
It's bad when a guest really doesn't like either one of us, right?
true. And Aaron Ra will be back. He will be taking on Jason King. Jason King's an interesting guy too. You can check out his channel. I think it's Jason666 King, but he is a atheist sort of that kind of believes we were created and then just I don't know. So, yeah, it's a head scratcher. So we'll end it there. Steve, you got anything that you want to throw out there before we kick things off and get this started?
No, I think I'm good to go. I'm actually looking forward to this discussion here because I don't know how this is even going to play out. So this is going to be entertaining one way or another, got to say. I remember very vividly when this event happened, and I remember all the chats that were going on for so long on this particular topic.
Just throw this out there. Kids. If you haven't seen yet, there's a link in the description for Producer Dave's GoFundMe. Check that out when you get the chance, and donate if you can. Steve brought up a good point there. I think pretty much all of us can remember where we were when it happened. I was in high school. I was in 11th grade, and I remember being at the I had asked to go to the bathroom. We had little like hall pass things that we had to sign out, and I was looping around back to the classroom to get water, and the TV in the office was on, and I remember seeing it there, and I remember thinking, wow, some idiot just flew a plane into the World Trade Center. The second plane hadn't hit yet, so I go back to class, and the teacher's it's math class, and he was going through a problem, and somebody had gotten a text message, told the teacher turned on the TV, and right when the TV popped on is when the second tower came down, and you could just see the look on the teacher's face. I don't think when I was that age, or this was an era before, terrorism was really a, kind of a household name, but it didn't hit me until I looked at the teacher's face, and the teacher's face was just like white, and you knew something like really bad and tragic had happened. And there was more to it than just somebody flying a plane into the towers. So before we kick things off, let's let each of our guests introduce themselves, plug any channels that they have or any kind of social media, where to follow them, and then we'll get started. So Anane, we'll start with you.
All right. Well, I'm Anane Dragon, and I tackle topics of religion, science, and quackery over on my channel, Anane Dragon, on YouTube, and pretty much any social media where I'm active, you'll find me as Anane Dragon.
Cool. And once again, just to put the stories to rest, he is not an actual dragon.
I don't believe that
Jeff
yet.
Censored. Introduce yourself,
yeah,
sir.
hi. My name is Jeff Censored on the most censored channel in YouTube history. They don't want you to know what I know. They don't want you to listen to me, so they crush all my channels. You can find me currently on Jeff Censored and Supreme Lord Commander for more entertainment sort of analysis. And I've been exposing the New World Order for almost 7 years.
Just curious, what are you the Supreme Lord Commander of?
Oh, that's kind of an inside joke. It would take too long to explain, but basically it was just kind of a way that people were thinking of me back at a past, so I kind of embraced it.
Gotcha. It seems like an odd question to ask, but go ahead.
You're not Xenu, are you?
Please
Pardon
be
me?
Xenu.
You're definitely not Xenu, right?
Please be Xenu.
Not what? Xenu?
Xenu is Supreme Lord Commander.
The leader of the Supreme Commander of the Galactic Empire.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
The God of Scientology.
Okay.
It seems like an odd question for me to ask, but if you've watched the show, then you'll understand that it's not, because even Monday we have a gentleman coming on that thinks similarly, that he is the reincarnation of Jesus. So it wasn't that awkward of a question. No.
Yeah. I'm only joking. I don't think I'm a reincarnation of anything. Okay. I'm just a guy. Yeah.
Just checking.
Sorry to disappoint.
So we'll kick things off with you, since you think that there was more to 9/11, and just to kind of get a understanding of where you're coming from and what you believe or think happened. So can you kind of give us a rundown of what you think really happened with 9/11?
Well, 9/11, a bunch of towers came down. and alleged plane crash into the Pentagon and another one into a cornfield. Yeah, I mean, there's lots of evidence to support that this happened. The big question or the quagmire that people seem to get tied up in is the how, when it's really more about the who and why that is really what people should be concerned about. And I think the who and why is pretty obvious. And I think we are all living in the shadow of 9/11. And in many ways, the manifestation of this is in the security surveillance apparatus that we all are now being watched. All these surveillance agencies merging together to form a global sort of New World Order surveillance. And this is very, very bad for humanity because we're all being watched, essentially. And I think that 9/11, you talked before about the terrorism, and it was relatively a new thing. It wasn't at all a new thing. There have been terrorist attacks in the United States and terrorist attacks in Canada and, of course, in Europe, especially in places like France. In the decades preceding that, there was even a prior alleged attack in 1993 on the World Trade Center. So we were well groomed for terrorism and well groomed for 9/11. In fact, much of the entertainment and movies that were around at the time were depicting mass terror attacks. So we were being predictively programmed into accepting it. And when it happened, of course, all the answers were already available before even the dust had settled, literally, on the trade centers. And we knew who the culprit was, and we knew what their motives were, of course, destroying our freedoms because they hate us. And the world's most powerful nation, the most powerful nation in the history of the world that we know, was brought to a complete standstill by allegedly 19 Arabs with box cutters. It's a nice trick. It really is. And if you believe in that one, I could tell you the story about the Green Giant or
let me just interrupt for just a second. And then we'll let Inane kind of respond. But just so that we're all on the same page, in case it's not obvious for people who are watching, who was behind it and why? Tell us that. Like, who do you think was really behind it and why?
Well, we know that 9/11 is a massive sort of occultic event that's coded with all their symbolism. And we know that all the people that were in the positions of power that had access to this site, to the scene, were all in their positions and all ready to carry out this deed. So largely what we're talking about, I mean, like, it would be a mistake to say the Illuminati, just like it would be a mistake to say the Zionist, because that would make you think of just one group and not really understand that there's more to it. But what we have is an Anglo-American Israeli sort of alliance that brought this about. And this involves a network that has been built up over the past few hundred years of elites in the world, elite royal bloodlines that control this world. And we live in their theater. Like, it's not that 9/11 is just an inside job. All of your major events are inside jobs, all of them. And every major shooting or bombing is almost definitely orchestrated by this same cabal. So we're talking about a powerful cabal of elites that have run this planet for a very long time. And they intend to run it forevermore, and we are being set up for their new world order.
Okay, all right, that's a lot. That's a lot to respond to, Inane. But I'm going to now turn it over to you guys. It's going to be a free flowing conversation between the two of you. Steve and I will step in just to make sure that you guys don't talk over each other. Please don't do that, so that the audience can follow along and hear everything that you have to say. We'll give you as much time as you need on both sides, but just respect each other when the other one's talking so that we can all understand where you're going. So, Inane, whenever you're ready.
All right. So actually, because I don't want to straw man Jeff's position, my first point is a question. Could you explain what you mean by predictive programming, because I've read up on it since you brought it up in our Twitter conversation, and